Oh
And
yeah, and I love your questions. So,
and it's funny because we haven't talked, we don't know, and that was part of the whole deal. That's how we
but before you
rolled
ask your
this.
questions, I want to tell you one thing.
Okay, yeah.
No money coming in. No, I have worked at least 100 hours and nothing to show for it because that's the nature of sales. And guess how depressed I am? Guess how angry I am? Guess how frustrated with life I am?
Okay, 100%. Can I ask you my first question then? Because
Wait,
you
I'm
are
not.
the guru. Oh, but you're not.
I'm not angry, frustrated, or mad. In fact, I've had a breakthrough as far as my awareness of energy in my own self, and it's been, well, I'm grateful for it. Now, don't get me wrong. If I could go back and do those sales over and close them, oh yeah.
Oh,
But
well, yeah.
I know what was going on. I know, and it led to me. I guess yeah, sometimes it takes a punch in the mouth to break through to the next level, and that's what's happened to me, especially over the last 48 hours. So I'm okay. But 2 years ago, if this would have happened, I would be cussing and hooting and hollering. Hey, I'm using your language. You hooting and hollering?
There you go. I like it.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
be hooting and hollering. I would be unhappy, and it's just I realized that not that much has changed. Like my life's not going to end. The business isn't going to go out of business, and nothing happens unless there's a lesson in there for you. And guess what? I'm deciding to grasp that lesson instead of grasping and trying to beat myself up like I normally do. So,
Well, I have something to say. You just said you told me when we right as we was getting started that you've met somebody that's going to help us AI these videos out and make little shorty shorts and all that stuff. So, you know, by you being slower has created a new opportunity, or a more drive, a new drive to go in maybe a different direction because who knows which direction we're ever going to take, and we need to be open and limber enough to go in whichever direction is the one we're supposed to. The road turns every now and then. People stay straight and narrow, that's fine for everybody, but when it turns a little bit, take it, widen it out, or whatever. I think that's awesome, Tim. So
yeah, we shall see what blessings and what opportunities appear out of this. But
yeah.
I
So
here's the one thing I will say, and then I want to hear your first question.
all right, go ahead.
What this confirmed for me, something I already knew, but applying it to me directly, everything is energy. Every interaction is energy. Every sale is energy. Every conversation is energy. Everything is energy. And I kept focused on the mechanics of the sale. What was I doing wrong with the script? What was I doing wrong with my tone? It was the energy, Tom's energy. And we can get into more of that later because I have a feeling it's going to relate to some of your questions.
Yeah, that's crazy. We're 2,000 miles apart. Yeah, we're right on. And I'm just gonna read just right here, chicken scratch. But yeah, so you ready?
I am ready.
All right. So continuing with our conversation from last week, if our cells are us at a cellular level, right? We've decided that they can feel and they bend in the cosmos, like for whatever reason that can't really be explained or I can't comprehend. If you talk nice to things in freezing water, then it makes nice, and then if you talk mean, right? So it's all out there. So if one individual can talk that way, then if you got millions of people and thousands of people um, talking bad or good, then it has to be even more. So if ourselves can lead us in the future with what's happening right now this week in our world, um, especially our country, is in the present, and everything bad. There's thousands, millions of people out here protesting, telling us how bad everything is, and it's not going to work, and nothing is good. You reckon that's falling out on everybody, or how does that work?
How does it feel?
Oh, it feels like if you look at it and you let it, it feels like shit. The whole country feels like shit. There's no future in nothing when people are out here protesting. They're burning businesses down. People are working. They've worked. They've built a business for years. Um, we're not united. Everything's down. It feels like shit. Yeah.
Why do you think?
Well, that's what the question is. There's millions of people out here protesting and all this. Not saying which side of the fence you're on or this or that. That's a lot of bad energy getting just put out there into the universe. So do you reckon it affects the rest of us that really could give two shits about anything?
I have a very
Except,
clear answer for you.
okay.
100%. There's no doubt about it. The collective consciousness is impacted by every human consciousness. So imagine that there's one big, let's see, what's a good analogy? Imagine everybody is drinking water from the same well. And the water we drink is our consciousness. You have your share of it, whatever you drink. I have my share, but it's all coming from the same well. If someone's pissing in that well, it's going to make all of us not like the feeling very much. So consciousness is a energy that doesn't just flow one way. It allows us to communicate with the universe, and consciousness is the sort of the medium conduit between our soul and spirit and the universal consciousness, God, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're all sending messages of hate, resentment, anger, well, the water in our body is going to crystallize in kind of an ugly way, but it's not going to crystallize because it's in motion. It's just going to come out in motion. It's going to feel bad. Everything's going to feel worse, and people are going to see things through a different perspective. But here's
So
the
so even if we're not out there protesting and we're mad about everything, and what you're saying is at that cellular level, we're feeling it.
yes, but there's a caveat.
Okay.
What's happening with the protesting and the anger and the fight and the disagreements, it's happening at a certain level of consciousness. So there's many levels to it of consciousness. Like Jesus, Christ consciousness, great example.
Right.
He took the human consciousness experience to the highest level. So did Buddha. So does the Dalai Lama. I mean, basically living living a human life in a way that does no harm to others but does lots of good for others. Like that's the maximization of human consciousness. Now, there are humans right now on the planet that are living at that level of consciousness. Like they are a higher level of consciousness than you or I, and this stuff doesn't even phase them. There's humans like me who literally did not know all this shit was going on in the world until you just told me. Did not watch the news, did not listen to anything unless I selected it by choice. So that means
But
I'm
that
going.
wouldn't that matter if you've got millions of people on the same level of pissed off and bad and speaking on the cell level, it's still going to affect us. If we agree with what we agree that if you talk bad to water, it gets mad, and talk good, it gets happy, right?
That's without a regard. That's for sure
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Now, humans, we have this thing called free will, where we can decide what we're going to pay our attention to. So our degree of presence, meaning being in the present moment, being fully conscious and present now, and where we decide to use our mind to direct attention, that means everything.
Oh, I
So
agree. I agree.
there's all of us are going to be impacted by the collective consciousness. So if the world's at war, the collective consciousness is not going to feel as good, and it's going to
Right.
impact people. People that have higher levels of personal consciousness, which means they're tapping into the God energy even more, will be less affected. So it doesn't affect every human the same. The ones out there protesting and actually experiencing it physically, they're more effective.
So you don't think their shit can like spread like a uh oh, what would you call it, like a virus a little bit, or they couldn't shed their stuff into us a little bit. Like it doesn't really affect us. We don't really care, but it's a little bit of shedding. You don't think we got to fight ourselves, cells, not cells, cells and stuff a little bit harder when there's millions of people that all agree upon the same thing that, hey, we might be going into World War III, let's say, you know. So I have to think if what we said before is true, then if we're higher, and I agree with you, then it's up kind of to our choice to we're more aware to say, oh man, something's wrong, something's a little different, and you know, I'm gonna fight and overcome this.
It absolutely is changing the collective consciousness of the planet, and especially the parts of the planet where this is occurring,
Yeah,
and the people who are paying the most attention to it and thinking about it throughout their day. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just where their attention is drawn to. Now, it will impact Jesus less. Let's say Jesus is on the planet now. It's going to barely phase him. He'll be aware of it, but it won't change his decisions, his overall bodily energy. It won't change where he's paying attention because his level of consciousness is so high. It's almost like he's above that polluted water. So the
well,
closer,
if you scuba dive, that's called the thermal climb. You ever scuba dive?
never.
Okay, so you as you dive down into water, it's kind of clear on top, and then you go through a thermocline. You might not be able to see nothing for 10 feet of water, and it's all cloudy and everything. And then you'll get below the thermocline, and the temperature changes in there somewhere, and then it'll be back good, nice and good and clear.
And is it different habitat that lives below in that different temperature?
No, I mean, I think you can move through it, but most things that are alive and going would rather live in the clear than the dirty. You see what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And I'm not like a pro scuba diver, so if somebody sees this, like, don't quote me on it, but that's just what I experienced. So,
I think that there's going to be analogies of this throughout the world. I mean, I think it applies to flying. There's certain altitudes where there's less turbulence and more turbulence. And I've never flown, so I don't know. I know it applies to altitude here on the planet, but the most important thing we can do is not fight the negativity because that's more negativity. It's actually let it flow through us and focus on our true alignment with consciousness. And if something comes through you and bothers you, then feel bothered. Really, feel it.
I agree. I'm just laughing at my notes, bro. That we're so different, and I'm just gonna say my second question now. Okay,
Please do.
how
And
how is
wait,
the
can I just
how is
ask a
the
question?
tormel, and now I can say it, the turmoil of the world,
Turmoil.
oh, turmoil, yeah,
Turmoil.
yeah, that word.
Like turn up, but
How
turmoil.
is it? How is it affecting us? So we're getting into this. That's why I wanted to speak my second question, and I think you're answering it right now.
It's affecting everyone differently, and it's affecting us as much as we decide it's affecting us.
But it is affecting us. Whether we can't just ignore it, right?
Right, but we have more control over our consciousness than water. Still water is very powerful, but it doesn't have its own consciousness. And if it does have its own consciousness, it definitely doesn't have the free will. It's going to follow the
Okay, yeah.
universal laws. We can override universal laws if
Water's
we
going to
want.
follow the path of least resistance,
100%
like
universal
most
law.
people will. right?
And yes, now,
Always there's the least resistant path is the way people are going to go.
and right now, the least resistant path is to get involved in the negativity, talk about the drama, and choose sides, and or just talk about it and feel the feelings about it. And those people, when we choose that path, we're going to be more impacted by this turmoil going on in the world. But
Yeah.
that's what we have as humans that no other life form has is free will to go against the path of least resistance, to go against what everyone else is doing, to go against what our instincts may say or our nature may say or what we learned as kids.
And our
Uh,
consciousness is what gives us that decision because
that
we're
is
conscious of the decision that we're going to make at that moment.
100%. So consciousness is a combination of your free will and your soul. It's the spiritual energy of your mind. They're
Mm-hmm.
not separate.
Yeah.
But that's when it's in the human body. When it leaves your human body, it doesn't need the mind anymore. But some people would call consciousness sort of a mind without the brain. The consciousness is one of the most disputed, controversial topics out there right now.
Oh.
Yeah, the scientists are
Well,
trying to figure out exactly what is this thing called consciousness. And people who don't believe that there's anything more than what you can see, they're like trying to find the part of the brain that creates consciousness, and they're not.
how can you believe in more than what you can see? Because otherwise, like, how the fuck does the internet work? Like, how can I just Google something and it gives me the answer? I can't see what it's doing. I'm not saying it's conscious, but I don't know, but I trust in the answer that it's giving me. So at some point, you just got to Google your soul to your consciousness and Google it within yourself to your conscious, and you'll get the answer.
But someone can give you a very scientific explanation of the internet, why the information travels the way it does. But we can't give you a solid see it and believe it evidence for consciousness right now.
Yeah,
Consciousness is a believe it and you see it sort of thing. When you believe it, you see it. You see it in
100%.
action and you feel
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
But scientists that want that very physical evidence, they're struck right now because consciousness obviously is impacting quantum mechanics, but there's no evidence of how that's happening. They
But
can't trace it to the brain. They can't trace it to the body and the cells. It's happening somehow outside the body, but the body and the brain are what cause it to happen.
but they want us to believe in it in their AI program that they built or their quantum physics idea.
Well, quantum physics is
More than I know about. So,
well
but what I'm
it
getting at is so like an AI, like a supercomputer AI is like this all knowing thing, right? So without a conscious, because us as men has created it. So that is like an AI, but that's what they want us to believe in is our conscious. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say?
so you think that there's people that want us to believe that AI is just as powerful and as important as our consciousness that's metaphysical and spiritual and beyond physical?
Yes. Yes.
No
Yeah.
one's tried to talk me into believing that.
Well, no, but there's a lot of people that will.
Well, and there's
They're
also
going to
people that will
believe what
tell
the
you,
computer tells them, what the TV tells them, what the news tells them, what books to read, what music they listen to, and the genre of that, which will interface um, with human consciousness, because it will know how to manipulate that at some point.
okay, so there's two big points, or three. One, I'm going to throw a shot at conformity and just believing blindly. So consciousness, spirituality, Christ consciousness, people go to church because they believe that what the church tells them, the only way you're going to go to heaven is if you come to this church and you do these things and you act this way and you give this amount of money and you follow these rules and you act like a good Christian, Catholic, Muslim, what have you. There's all these rules. And people just keep doing it because they're scared of not going to the place where all good consciousness and spirits and angels go. Okay. BS. Second thing, there's something called the observer effect that has been retested and retested again, so now it's scientific fact. We're going to talk about quantum material that's not material, it's energy. We're talking electrons, photons, nuclei, and quanta. These are very small packets of energy that you can't see with the eye. You need a laser magnifier accelerator to see it. It's like how atomic things are measured and created, and it's like faster than the atomic bomb technology. It's basically observing and measuring quantum phenomena. So we know that's true. We can test it. We can measure it. It's there. So something happened there. It's called the observer effect. So they shoot an electron or a photon out of the accelerator, and it's a wave. Everything starts as a wave. But when human consciousness observes it, it turns into a particle. Without the observation of human consciousness, it stays a wave. We shape subatomic energy with our conscious observation.
Just
Now,
like changing water to really pretty ice cubes.
or to wine.
Yeah, or the wine. I don't know about all that. Yeah, yeah.
Well, and
I wish I could figure that trick out. But yeah, he ain't told me that one yet.
why wouldn't it be possible? I mean, theoretically, we do eventually turn the water into wine because in order for the grapes to grow, water comes into the grapes grow, they get
Yeah,
smashed, voila, wine.
yeah.
Now we
That was
have,
just a joke, man. Just
but
calm down
no,
a
we
little bit.
do. We have created it.
Yeah.
We just don't have it in our physical bodies to do that transformation from water to wine, but we've created a mechanism in Mother Earth to do it, and we have wine now. Now let's go to AI. Human
Well, we
consciousness.
didn't create. Hold on, you had to have the yeast, which is another organism, to convert to sugar, right? Yeah, the sugar, the yeast, right, is an organism.
Yeast is a guy. I would call yeast a material,
Mm.
but I mean organism. I think it's vocab, but I think yeast is necessary to make wine.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not a
but you
wine.
can also pour yeast, in your drains and help keep your septic system clean. So I don't know if you know that, but yeah, put a spoonful of yeast once a month down your drain. Yeah, help your septic system.
If
It'll
enough
eat all the
human
poo poos in there.
consciousness, remember what you said, if how the negative turmoil can impact human consciousness?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if enough human consciousness wants a AI type um, information source, it gets created. The idea goes into someone's mind, and that person starts acting on the idea, and then other forces align, the help they need, the resources they need, and it gets created.
Yeah,
Yeast was discovered because
yeah,
we needed and someone desired to have the effects of yeast. Like none of this is by
yeah,
accident. It always starts with a human consciousness desiring an expansion, a growth, or an invention, and then the idea will apply. And have you ever heard someone say, you see an invention on TV or in the store, and they go, "Oh my God, I thought that was my invention. I thought of that. Ah, I should have done something with that."
Oh, bro, I've been the one that did it. Yeah, like, oh yeah, I had the same kind of idea.
Because human consciousness called for that idea, and the universe put it in many people's minds, and the one who takes action and follows it through,
There we go. We talked. Yeah,
it happens.
yeah.
So some things take longer to be created and show up in the physical world than others, but there's not a single thing that human consciousness can't create.
Well, then what you're saying is that that's putting us maybe all on the same kind of plane, or some of us in different planes of thinking the wave, and it goes around in a circle until the person that picks it out, like an apple, and then it becomes their apple.
Kinda, yeah.
The
Yeah,
idea is floating there.
yeah.
Now somebody has to take it and then run with it and then
Yeah.
make it happen and make it their own, right?
With free will and attention.
Yeah, sure enough, 100%.
Because when someone gets that, they call it inspiration.
Yeah,
And that's
they're
an
just the ones that,
idea.
put, that they looked up into the cosmos and pulled that out, their apple out of it, their idea, their invention.
And
Yeah,
here's the big thing. Writers who've created great works, Einstein, Edison, inventors that created electricity and things that really changed our quality of life as humans, their breakthroughs don't come when they're sitting in a lab working on it. It doesn't come when they're talking to their friends trying to figure it out. It comes to them when they are not even, when they're relaxed, when they're going to sleep, or when they're waking up, or in the shower. I say, oh, there it is. It's almost like a gift from God.
all
But
right,
God,
100%. Because would you like to hear my question number 3?
please.
What it is how do we, people like us that are trying to tap into everything and visualize and be the best we can be and have a good conversation, and the world's going to shit and we're all going to burn and die in fucking nuclear hellfire war if you watch the news, how do we capitalize on this? How do we make ourselves better, make money, do best for our families, look out for our future, and protect ourselves?
Do you know how many people got wealthy and rich during the Great Depression?
Most of the ones that we know now.
Do you know how many people got wealthy and rich during all the wars?
Lots and lots of them. You know how Elon got all of his money? It wasn't by selling fucking Teslas. It was my making government contracts, sending missiles up. So 100%. So I wanted to lead off with these other couple questions and how you started this podcast, which is hilarious because you ain't had a very good week. But how are we going to capitalize on when the rest of the world is falling to shit and everything's going whatever, right? It's fine because we're going to take this good energy and we're going to find something. And if there's so much negative, there's got to be just as much positive out there.
Do you know why that's true? The law of polarity. For every extreme of negativity, there's an equal opposite extreme of positivity.
And so there's a mountain. If there's millions of people out there protesting and talking about hellfire, nuclear fucking war, and we're all going to die, then look at our opportunity and the odds that we have that we're going to be in the best chance of our lives to actually motivate ourselves into finding that, grabbing the apple out of the sky in the universe that's going to be our golden fucking ticket on this planet and right now. We just have to seize the opportunity. No matter what everybody else tells us, no matter the stock market or the silver price or the gold price or where it's going to go, that's fine. The opportunity is going to be so great because nobody else is looking for it.
Step 1, ignore everything that's going on in the outside and everything the media is telling you about the prices in the stock market and everything. Ignore that.
I have to disagree a little bit because I
That's
think you
I'm
need to
gonna give
have
you
the
my steps.
knowledge.
You can tell me what if you are focusing on the outside evidence, the reality that you want, which is turning it into positive and actually becoming wealthy in the process, that is not going to happen because you're giving all your attention to what you're seeing on the outside. So the ability to ignore what everyone else says is possible and what everyone else says is happening,
Yes.
and focus on the desired outcome you want,
Yeah.
that's key. Number 2 is awareness of your own emotions and thoughts. Because now you got to keep your attention and free will on this thing you desire. Now here's the thing. You don't even need to know what it's going to be. You don't even need to know how. You just know you want to take all this negative and turn it into something positive that makes you wealthy.
Or happy, or put your life, have a farm, whatever it is you want. There's all of this. And I think it's an awesome opportunity for people like you and people like myself that, like, man, we're going to be the only people out fishing today. and there's all these, we're going to catch something great because we don't have any competition. If everybody else is too scared and too afraid, then we're going to sit out here with an awesome idea and a personality, knowing we're going to succeed. We're going to find it. The opportunity is more now than it is when everybody else is happy.
You're 100% right, and I believe you just sparked a thought and an insight that I did not have before. It just applying to my own personal experience over the last 30 days. So what's going to happen right now is there's going to be people who are going to continue their expansion of consciousness. They're going to continue remembering their connection to source consciousness and tapping more into that. And then there's going to be people who weren't connecting anyway. They're going to get further from it, more negativity, more feeding that fire. And there's going to be some people like me, I believe, who are going to have a contrast experience where they have to decide to rise above it and be aligned with the energy of someone who's got lots of money coming in, has no financial fear at all, and is very successful in whatever I'm doing, instead of someone who just bombed his last 19 sales calls. Like, I don't choose that energetic identity, even though I don't make any claims that that didn't happen. But if
Right.
all I focus on is that instead of expanding my consciousness through this, it's
Because there's
almost
going to be so much opportunity in front of us.
right.
While everybody else bombs their other 19 sales calls, there's going to be something that's just going to be like, wow, look what's here.
And so I expect that. I expect more money, more opportunity, more joy, more happiness, more truth, more love, more connection, more expansion. That's what my mind is set on.
Yeah.
And so I
And
had
then
to,
I think we need to be, as individuals, like, oh, the world's falling apart, thermal nuclear war, we're all going to die. And I think we need to be like, you know how much opportunity is out here?
and that's, you hit the nail on the head, Josh. Honestly, everyone watching the replay, watching this, the only way we can impact it is as individuals first. We have to start with ourselves. Like, we cannot have a positive impact on anyone else until we start permeating that energy of connection to consciousness and source and awareness that we are more than our physical bodies and our brains and thinking mind. But using our thinking mind, our attention, our free will, to visualize, imagine, tap into the reality of abundance and positivity and health, because there's people that will do that, and the ideas and the actions will come to them and they'll follow it, and by golly, they're going to come out of this way better than they started.
Oh, there's a lot of people are going to come out of this way worse.
Oh, 100%. It's, we're going to go one direction yet. Right now there's higher levels of light pouring on our planet right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So
So us with this higher consciousness thing or whatever, I think we just need to be excited, not that the world's gonna burn down or whatever, but business wise, because you said that's what you wanted to talk about. This is a golden ticket fucking opportunity because we're not gonna fall for their trap. We're gonna take our own consciousness, live with inside ourselves, and then look for the opportunity that's gonna come out of it. And so even if the world does burn, then it's gonna be us and people like us that are gonna rebuild it. Does that make sense? So instead of being afraid of it, we need to be excited for it. I don't want it to happen, but that's just where it is.
if you're enthusiastic and excited about this present moment right now, whatever it has and whatever,
Like, shouldn't we be enthusiastic and excited about whatever present moment that we are actually in instead of
well,
being
I
in a
hate to
pissy
say
mood?
should, because if I don't like to shit on myself, and I don't want you to shit on yourself either.
Yeah.
But if that's presence, and if we can be joyful or excited or enthusiastic or inspired about this moment, we are opening ourselves up to the ideas, the actions, and the
There
intuition
we go.
to take that action.
Yeah.
If we are mad and depressed and blaming and judging, we're closing ourselves up out from that higher intelligence.
Yeah. And if there's 20 million more people this week that are getting mad and sad and depressed or whatever, then that's them closing themselves off. And that's going to lead to opportunity for people like us.
Here's the caveat.
The world sucks. I get it. It's blowing up. I don't want it to happen. But if it doesn't happen and blow up, and then we're going to be on the front line ready to rebuild it. And I want it to be rebuilt by people that want the very best in life for everybody in the universe and for all of us to live happy ever after, so to speak. Does that make sense?
That's inevitable, and it does make sense. That's the new earth that's happening. As they talk about in the Bible, they talk about in ancient texts. The new earth is happening. Who knows what it will look like physically? The only thing is that consciousness will still be existent, and it will still be able to occupy physical bodies and form, and consciousness will never stop. It's
Yeah.
just right now in our physical forms, most humans, many humans, and I've been that human, we're not in contact with that consciousness anymore. We're just in contact with our ego and our mind and our programs and conformity and how we look to the Joneses and how much, that's all. And it's like driving all of our decisions. We're not
Yeah.
just,
So what I'm trying to say is look at the Joneses, whatever, but also look out past that because there's going to be so much opportunity on the other side of this.
there is right now.
Yeah, right now. What's going on?
There's no other side. The only time is right now,
Yeah,
and it's happening now. And
yeah. And
by
so if people are
deciding,
choosing to back a war or run in a protest or whatever, you know, and the world's coming to an end, there's a lot of opportunity on that
what do you mean by
for
world
people
coming
like
to an end?
us. Oh, I would just kind of, you know, yeah, I guess, we're all gonna we're gonna nuke them, they're gonna nuke us, big nuclear war, and we're all gonna die like the fucking dinosaurs or something. I don't know. Like I
What
guess
does it
if
mean
that
by
happens,
die?
huh?
What does it mean by, I'm getting metaphysically deep here. What does it mean by die?
Well, you quit breathing, I reckon, because then your soul goes on to do something else. Yeah. Uh,
So the lungs stop
I'm gonna go
working.
to heaven, or like you think I'm gonna come back here and have to do this again because I wasn't real good here.
The
But yeah,
same consciousness still survives a nuclear war. Nukes can't kill consciousness.
well, actually, energy doesn't
Right. And
end, right?
consciousness is energy.
Yeah. So, I mean, I get all points of it. Like I've told you before, if you're right and I'm wrong, I hope I'm not reborn again as a goat in Afghanistan.
What do you mean if I'm right and you're wrong?
I don't want to be reborn in an animal or something. Yeah.
I don't know if that could ever happen.
No, I don't know either.
All I
Do
know is that we have,
you know what happens to goats in Afghanistan?
I don't even care, but I'll tell you this, that we have a consciousness right now that when we let it run the show and let it expand, it life feels better and we have access to new information and new
Yeah.
opportunities and new potential that we can choose to do right now and to make the very most out of what's going on in the world.
I agree. And that's why
And
I'm not excited about what's happening in the world. I just want all of us to know that there is, no matter what's happening, there's 10 times as much opportunity.
I really believe that right now we're being called, like there's a need for people teaching everyday people that don't have a degree in quantum mechanics or metaphysics or spiritual studies or energy physics or neurobiology or any of these fancy names to help others align with their consciousness, to rise
Yeah, and
above.
and the more people that can figure out and then run in the circle of the good consciousness, whatever you and I think's good, right? Like just be happy kind of consciousness, uh, the better the world will be altogether.
That you just nailed it.
Right?
It-
Right now, if it's all in the negative, that's what's affecting us, right? It has to be in our metaphysical body self. You know, it has to be. If 51% of the world is like in a bad pissy mood, then everybody's in a bad pissy mood.
No, not everybody.
Well, but if 51% is in a good mood, it would help.
Look at it like a radio station. You have AM and you have FM, right?
Yeah,
If you're on AM, I know everyone uses Spotify and Sirius and everything else now, so it's outdated. But just
showing your age, bro.
so do the gray hairs on the sides and the yeah. But if you're on AM, there's no way you can expect to listen to an FM frequency channel at all.
There you go, 100%.
And
I
if you're
got
on
you.
FM, but you want to hear FM 102, but you're down at 98, you're not going to hear it unless you turn the dial and turn your frequency. So, if you're at a frequency of 200 vibrations and all this shit's happening at a frequency of 20 vibrations, it's not going to impact you much.
Yeah,
It's not.
yeah.
That's
So we're saying the same thing. I
yeah.
think I love your analogy because I think you're spot the fuck on. You need to dial in what you want to feel and the vibrations that you want to receive and give. So we can either receive and give bad. We're going to receive like the bad news and watch it and this and that, you know, and that's it. That's all we're going to receive. And then that's all we're going to give out. Or we can change the dial sometimes. We can, and now I'm talking more business wise. We can receive the bad news, but everybody else sees this bad idea. Oh my gosh, it's all bad. And then we're gonna take that in, and then we're gonna change it over here to the Beach Boys or something, you know, and just be like having the chicken dance song, and you know, we're gonna be like, doo, 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 doo. And we're gonna be like, hey, we're gonna have a great time, and we're gonna build something out of this. There's opportunity right here in front of us.
You are 100% right. And asking the question, what is the good side of this that's going to help me and all of mankind?
Right. Yeah, I got it.
And that opens up a new frequency for you. Now, here's
Yeah.
something that's really important. Buddhism and a lot of religion, Christianity, they say desire is the cause of all suffering. Don't desire anything. If you don't desire anything, you won't suffer. Here's my contention, and I'm happy to give proof and evidence of this if someone's vehemently against it. Without desire, you can't raise your frequency. As humans, our consciousness, our souls want to expand, and as they expand more, we desire expansion. That means we desire to create, to make, to build, to have, to do, to impact. And in the moment we stop desiring something, we're just flowing and we're no longer creators. We're bobbers in the stream now. We are
Yeah.
not the fishermen anymore. We are
Well,
not the ones making it.
you're just
So,
going to take the path of least resistance.
right. And we just settle for what is without creating what we desire because we don't even know what we want.
Yeah.
Like, go up to someone tomorrow and say, what's your biggest desire? They're going to say, I want to be rich. I want a hot wife. I want a great body. I want a nice car. They're gonna say something material most likely. But material is a byproduct of the desire of our impact and expansion on the world. By creating something that helps others elevate their consciousness, you will get as wealthy as you want to be. By creating something that helps others be healthier and more vibrant, you can be as wealthy as you want to be. It's all connected. They're all energy systems. But if we are doing something like manufacturing and selling a drug that we know is doing harm to people, like fentanyl, and we know it's going to hurt people, especially if they do too much, but it makes us a shit ton of money, so we keep selling it, we will have the instant gratification of material money. But when you create negative, you receive negative.
Right.
It will come back and it will smack you upside the head. And sometimes it'll smack you upside the head by your nephew or niece getting in an unexpected car accident. Like
Yeah.
people say, why do these babies die? Why do these innocent kids die? Has nothing to do with the innocent kids because they're not impacted at all by the death. Their spirit, their consciousness goes on to the next level. It's the people that love those kids that are impacted. It's always the remaining living people that are attached to those lives that are the ones that are hurting.
Yeah. Yeah, the funeral's not for the dead. The funeral is for us that are left behind.
I don't go to funerals.
Well, I'm just saying there's funerals every day. That's what it is. You don't go to a funeral for the dead person. The dead person is dead, right?
They don't give a shit.
They're not here, right? Yeah, they're done, passed on. But you do that to close your own mind. Yeah, I'm just trying to agree with you in a different way. You know, it's not for the dead person. It doesn't matter to them no more. You do that. We do that for ourselves.
100%. We're in agreement again. So here's my big point.
All right.
This is a time of opportunity when we're on the right frequency. And if we are going for and desiring something that not only helps us financially, socially, impact wise, but also helps others,
Yeah,
well, the universal consciousness, God, cooperates and helps us.
I agree. I agree. So as the world's falling to shit, in my kind of closing statement, as the world's falling to shit, if you watch the news, and I think you need to, because I think we need to be knowledgeable about what's going on around us, the
No
trends,
desire.
huh?
Not going to do it.
That you don't have to. I'm just saying that's my opinion.
I love your opinion.
Yeah, you need to have an idea, but if you have knowledge, and then while everybody's crying like, oh my god, it's the end of the world, there's going to be so much opportunity for all of us if we have the right attitude, consciousness to
Oh,
see that.
attitude. That's a key. I know we're coming out of time, but you just said that attitude word. Now, attitude, I believe that's one of the dials on our level of consciousness.
I agree, and there is a huge opportunity. I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, I would ask you this. What do you want to happen?
Oh, I want America to be the very best, most powerful country that it always has been,
Then
and
you
I want
must
us to
start
stand
with
up at the top.
making Josh the most very best, most powerful man and person and spirit and consciousness he can be.
100%. Yeah, yeah. So, and then I want to bring my country up with me. That's what I want, you know.
Every
And
big
I want
movement.
all my people that to yeah, I want to bring everybody up. I want us to all be prosperous and happy, and I want our kids to be great and have the awesome future. And we all have, you know, a 3-bed, 2-bath house in a fucking subdivision and in Paperboy. You know, at 12 years old, throwing the paper in the morning because he doesn't have to worry about getting hit by a drunk driver. Like that's what I want.
By elevating your
But
consciousness, you
yeah,
will have a impact on your immediate household. You'll have an impact on your city and town. You have an impact on your state. And it starts from inside and spreads out.
yeah. So is what I want everybody to know is that even though the world's falling the fuck apart, if you watch the news, there's a whole lot of opportunity for anybody that wants to see it, grab a hold of it, you know. And
See,
it won't
here's,
be easy, and it might get hard, but there's opportunity here.
yeah, I would agree. I feel like there is
Maybe
more
that's why you didn't make a
opportunity.
sale last week. Everybody's scared, right? They didn't want to take a chance. And then now they're like, and it may get worse.
Well,
But there's
I
opportunity.
didn't come to the sales with the energetic energy of a trusted advisor. I came to the sale with the energy of a technician that knows my mechanics better than ever, that is going to get through the mechanics of it all without making that human energetic connection that is my gift. I got away from doing what I normally do and just fell into the mechanics um, slump. And you know what? I own that, and I'll learn from that. And I elevated my frequency because of it.
There you go.
Because I let myself slip into only going for the sales, the stats, the money, and the success, and not going back to being energetically connected to whoever I was talking with.
Yeah.
Presence and attention.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Okay, I almost forgot to say this. You're allowed to watch the news just like you're allowed to drink alcohol because you can drink some alcohol and stop drinking it after you have your fill, after you have what you decided. Now, someone else who drinks a little bit of alcohol and they can't stop drinking it and they keep drinking it and they're drinking it the next day. Oh, why do I drink so much? And they regret it because it's making their life hell. They probably need to let the alcohol go by and not drink it. Well, when you watch the news, you have this ability. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. You don't let it impact your beliefs on the world, yourself, and how everything operates. Guess what, though? Lots of people don't have, if it doesn't apply, let it fly mentality. They have, oh my God, that must be true because it's on the news. And that must be, oh my, and they just completely get absorbed with it without any discernment that there could be another perspective. There could be an opportunity here. There could be a positive way to resonate with this. Not all people have that.
well, I think if it's news, then it should be factual or whatever it is. I don't care. In life, if it's right, it's right. If it's wrong, it's wrong. So if it doesn't apply all the time, then it can apply sometimes. You
You
know?
get to choose your beliefs, Josh.
Huh?
You get to choose your beliefs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every person gets to choose their beliefs, and the best the news can give you.
And I'm not really talking about the news. I don't care about Good Morning America or NBC. I'm not really talking about that. I'm just saying keep in contact or at least have some consciousness of what is actually going on with the world around you. What is happening? You can't live in a fucking bubble. You know what I mean? You can't just say, be like an ostrich with your head in the sand, like, oh, there's a lion over there and I'm scared, and then put your head down and then not even look around to see where the fucking lion's at. Like, you have to have, like, oh, he's over there. I think I'll go the other direction. Like, or like there is a good opportunity. So then you have to have knowledge and then you have to do some research. So I think the stupid people are like, uh, you know, oh, I'm not gonna watch the news, but by God, I won't miss Judge Judy at 2 o'clock in the fucking afternoon. I mean, how is that helping you? Or The Simpsons on Thursdays? I don't even know, but um, you do need to know what's happening, not just within in your around yourself, in your community, in your town, in your state, in your country, in the world. Like, or you can't live like an ostrich and be successful. You have to know the trends. You have to know what people are going and there. Otherwise, you're just kind of like, wish you could put on a star, going to Never Never Land. There's real things that happen in reality. If you want to get in front of it and you want to make the money, you want to be successful, you're gonna have to do the research. I don't care uh if you're Home Depot and you're gonna build a $30 million store in a city, you're gonna do the research. You're gonna spend the time and the money, and you're gonna say, why are people moving to this area? And then, oh, they're gonna need, 10,000 new homes in this area. Why are they going to need the homes? Because this factory is moving there and this is going to be a big boom town. So you're going to do the research and call it news or information or whatever, but that's what it is. So if you're going to be successful, you're going to have to educate yourself on what's going on. You know, if they're building a new Home Depot next door to you, then yeah, maybe open up a heat and air company because people are
So
going to put electric heat and air in their house,
I
HVACs.
I'm not going to say you're wrong, nor am I going to agree with you and say that I'm going to start watching the news because more important than getting information from Judge Judy or the news or wherever you're getting outside information is connecting with your consciousness. For me, connecting with my consciousness, feeling the energy of myself, feeling the energy of this house, feeling the energy of my city, feeling the energy of the world, and
Yeah,
saying, okay, now there's been a disturbance in the force for sure,
yeah,
but it has only affected me in that it made me decide to level up my frequency. So I simply chose to level up my frequency over these last days. I had no idea the turmoil was going on, but I needed to either level up my frequency or I was going to fall down some levels.
yeah. Well, I need to
And
level up mine because I kind of went the opposite way and kind of fell a little too deep on the other side, maybe. But yeah, there's some shit going on that we all need to be aware about.
and I think awareness of our
Yeah,
own conscious energy is where it all has to start. That's my belief. I think that is the key for this our lives getting better, opportunities materializing, and for us actually having that positive impact on others. But ask the average person, when was the last time that they sat and just felt their own energy?
average person. I don't think that's why we can't. That's why you and I started talking, just so we can talk once a week and be able to talk like this from two different worlds
Dude,
with
I'm
the
an ADD,
same thing.
ex-addict, ex-convict, ex-felon, ex-drug abuser. I have no business having any special privileges, and literally because I've practiced, and it's practice, it's reps. One breath, I can feel the tingle in my fingers.
Yeah.
Takes me about 2 breaths to feel it in my heart area. With 3 breaths, I start feeling my solar plexus. It's like you can actually feel that energy, but it's not an energy you think about, yet it's the energy that gives you the ideas that change the world.
Change the world. I like it. Let's end on changing the world tonight.
Well, you are, dude. Your awareness. Your awareness, I mean, give yourself credit. Your awareness, your open mindedness, your open heartedness, your intention, you are raising your vibration and frequency in this moment.
Well, that's why we have these conversations, bro.
These are the only conversations I have now. I can't stomach small talk. Can't do it.
I agree. I agree. I look forward to our conversations. I hope we can start doing them more often. Maybe the world needs it. If we can get some subscribers or something, or whatever the Patreons or
So you're
some shit.
right. So you're right. In order to get subscribers, we got to play the game, and we got to get short content out there. We got to get the right thumbnails. We got to play the game in order to get people to see
And
it.
if everybody's feeling like shit, maybe they'll like our videos.
Yeah, but they got to
Yeah.
know about them first.
Well, you got to know about what's going on, huh? Yeah.
We got to let them know what's going on with
So
our
all the
conversation.
protesters can come here and watch our channel now. I'm good with that. Yeah. See?
It's like a mini universe inside of a universe.
Yeah. Well, my universe has got to pee, so I got to get
Yeah,
out
go
there.
pee. But we're the news. We're doing our best to take what we're experiencing and what we know and our knowledge and presenting it as truthfully as we can out loud. And that's like our own news station.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right,
I
man.
agree.
Go pee because
All right, man.
biological
Hey,
system, they work.
love you, brother.
Love you too, man. Thank you. I love you and great questions. I can't wait to see what you come up with next week.
All right. Talk to you later. Out.
Bye bye.